On this particular absolute value, you want to go through the process of graphing. The first thing you want to do, and this is already set up in standard form, it needs to be solved for y. It has to be y equals. So I'm going to leave it as y equals because it puts it in standard form. The next thing I'm going to glean from this particular equation is a. A is the number outside of the absolute value once you solve for y. In this case, it's 1/2. Because this is positive, it tells me that this particular absolute value, this v, is going to open upward. If a is negative, of course, it would open downward. The next thing that I need to find is my vertex. To find the vertex, you go inside of that absolute value, and whatever is in there, you want to set it equal to 0. And then solve for x. So 3x is equal to 6, x is 2. That tells me two things. The first thing it tells me is the x value for that vertex. It also tells me what the axis of symmetry is. It is the vertical line x equals 2. Don't forget to write the x equals part. It's that vertical line that goes straight up the middle of that V-shaped absolute value. To find the y value of that vertex, that y coordinate is this constant at the end, -4. So if I'm plotting my vertex, I'm going to put that same color sign, I have the vertex 2, -4. If I go over here and plot 2, -1, 2, 3, 4, I know that my absolute value is going to open upward. I just don't know exactly how it's going to look. So to find those values, or to find the shape, the correct shape, I have to find a table of values. To do that, you can plug in, or you can go to your calculator. I'm going to show you both. The midway there is going to be 2, 4, 2, -4. So I need to go 2 places below 2, so that would be 1 and 0. 2 places above, that would be 3 and 4, because the absolute value, v, is symmetric. If I were to fold it on the absolute value, or the axis of symmetry, then those two sides of the v would fold on top of each other. So what you can do is you can take that 0, go back up here to your equation, plug it in, and solve it, and that'll give you that y value. Take the 1, go back up here, plug it into the equation, solve it, and that would give you that y value. If you have a graphing calculator, it's easiest just to plug it in and find your table of values. You first go to y equals, because we're going to graph this, and then you're going to put in your equation right here. I like to put my fractions in parentheses, so I have 1/2, and then times the absolute value. Remember, that's that second catalog. Abs means absolute value. And then you're going to type in 3x minus 6. 3x minus 6. Once you get to this point, you need to arrow out of your absolute value. If you have parentheses, close your parentheses. And then you have -4. A common mistake right here is that some students use negative instead of minus. You have to put the minus. Then you're going to go to your table of values, and you can see right here table in blue. So it's second table, and it takes you there. The first thing I'm going to check is if my vertex is the point 2, -4. I look right here. It is the point 2, -4. So I then go, okay, well, what was it at 1? Oh, it's -2.5. So I have -2.5. At 0, it is at -1. So I go back to my graph and say, okay, well, that's -1. Then I might have to arrow down a little bit and come down to find the values at 3 and 4. At 3, it's -2.5. At 4, it's -1. And that should be the case because an absolute value is symmetric. So this is 2.5 and -1. So then I'm going to go and I'm going to graph that. So I'm at 0, -1, 1, -1, 2.5, -2, -4, I've already plotted that, 3, -2.5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, -1. And then I have a very accurate width that these two V's are apart. Oh, that's terrible. Let's see if I can make that a little straighter. But here's the graph of the absolute value. And if you have to graph an inequality, if it's greater, it would shade up. If it were less, it would shade lower down here. But the graphing would be the same. So this is how to graph an absolute value.